All right, what's up? Gumaro R&B nerd here, and I have the wonderful, the amazing Chastity from Midnight R&B Edition, and I believe it's Midnight R&B Edition across all platforms, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, and you got it all right because everybody missed the addition part. I'm like, y'all additions added in there.
Yeah, the Agrippi edition. Yeah. So she's been so gracious to join me today to talk through one of my favorite albums of all time, Cassie's self-titled debut album. It's just an album that I love so much, and I have so many feelings and things that I have and that I want to share and express. And so thank you so much, Cassie, for joining us today to talk about it and for us to just kind of like kiki over it and kind of go through some of the questions that I put together. So just real quick, I do like to just kind of have a little intro or try to remember how I connected with you. And so for me, the memory I have is that, going into it, wanting the R&B nerd kind of brand to be about like the creatives, like the producers, songwriters, vocal arrangers, and all that kind of behind the scenes instrumentalists is really where I want to like emphasize and always give credit and give love, because they are, I mean, we have the talent, obviously, like a Brandy and all these people, they're amazing, but like you need the other people to orchestrate it and really make R&B what it is. And I know you recognize that too, because you have amazing interviews with so many prominent figures. So shout out to you. Also acknowledging that that side of it as well, that there's more than just the artist. So I want to say one day I just said, I'm going for this. I'm just going to pursue it. And I remember just kind of like knocking out and doing like the Rodney Jerkins, the Danger Hands, like just going through and just finding all of the like R&B heavy hitters, right? And somewhere in some way, I came across your page, or you came across mine. I don't really remember, but I'm so glad that we did. And so to me, I don't know any particular one point in time, but I just think going through the process is kind of how we organically found each other, which is really cool and what I feel like social media is about.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said too, like I said, anybody that does anything affiliated with R&B, I'm gonna gravitate to and I'm gonna follow. I'm like, oh, they do R&B, follow. Like that's just like the openness, quirkiness side of me. Like I just love people that honor and appreciate it, because we need platforms, because people feel like R&B is dead, just not. And pretty much when it comes down to R&B, we're kind of like the bottom of the totem pole, but we create the sound, we create all genres. So I feel like anybody that does R&B and the love and the name of it, and honor music and just honor anything affiliated with it. And what I love what you do too is like you just don't honor a person that made one hit or 5 hits. You honor everybody that's been impactful to R&B, and that's why I respect people like yourself. So, like I said, it could have been one of those things, but if I see you doing some R&B, follow.
That's great. I love that. I think we need more of that, and I agree. I think R&B is seen as like this weird thing where it's like it's not recognized fully for what it is, or I even kind of like compare it to how people think that like love or being good is like seen as like a weak thing and you shouldn't show that. But then it's like if you really pay attention to like R&B and like even like soul and blues and all that, like that's the foundation for all music, American music especially. Like that is it. That's the root. So and especially with music like Cassie, for example, it's like it's so progressive, it transcends the genre itself and creates new experimental or progressive sort of songs and music that we can all still love because it's rooted in R&B. So yeah, I think that it's worth noting. Well, then let's get right into it. The very first question that I had was like, wanting to set the tone and reflecting on the debut album, because I think you've been listening to it maybe in preparation for this. I know I have.
All day.
Yeah. So me and you, specifically that one big record, and just Cassie culturally, the shaved head and like all of the stuff with like Diddy and like Ryan Leslie and just like that whole just sort of weird, not weird, but like just interesting, I'll say, interesting sort of dynamic that she's had. What are your thoughts on the project now and of her as an artist overall?
Oh, wow. Back then, you taking me back to high school years. So this is like a 17-year memory, a great memory, because I can say for myself, and I wanted to tell you this was around post Katrina. So I was dealing with Hurricane Katrina at the time. So when that happened, it was kind of like a weird phase, because when nature hits and stuff like that, weather hit, weather storms and stuff, you're not going to understand how the way I think the world kind of acts and stuff. So like pretty much I kind of felt behind at the time. So when 2006 comes around, I'm trying to kind of get back in the thing of music, because we're dealing with Hurricane Katrina, the loss of sadly of people, and just life in general, and just people trying to pick back the pieces. Exactly. And so all of a sudden I'm in my junior in school, and I hear MySpace. I'm like, what the hell is a MySpace? Okay. And then they got YouTube. Like all the kids, you know, in junior high school, like, you been on MySpace, you been on YouTube. I'm like, no, like, what is it? So I get to my cousin's house and I was chilling with her. I was very close to my cousin at the time. And I would always go to her house because she had a good computer because I had dial-up. So that was, you know, the dial-up. She had the easy fast broadband. So everybody was just talking about this MySpace and stuff. So I create this MySpace, and then all of a sudden I see my kids, you know, my classmates from high school, you know, who I graduated with and stuff. And then all of a sudden I go to their page and I hear this doom, 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 doom. I'm like, what is this? And then I go to the next classmate, same song, same song, same song. I'm like, wait a minute. Why is everybody getting intrigued by this song? But why is this song on every time I go to each person's MySpace page, this song? So I found out it was Cassie, and I was very intrigued by it because, you know, once that hit or that buzz gets to the like the social medias and stuff like that, it kind of like transcends to other people. But I thought it was shocking because I'm like, who is this girl? Right. What's this song? Like, what is going on? Why is everybody, every girl on MySpace have this song on their page? So when I found out who she is, it was Cass. And then when I heard the whole song and then I got to YouTube and watched the video, I'm like, okay, this is kind of dope. Like, you know, it's a very intriguing beat. Not even that, it kind of reminds you of that Aaliyah and Timbaland, you know, marriage they had together. You know, that sound that everybody was bringing. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about Cassie when it comes to her and Ryan's chemistry. Yeah. Because what they did back in 06 changed the game, period. Yeah. Especially in 06, because let's be real, she ran 06. And that sound right there was very infectious. And so for her to do that and to see all my classmates bigging up this song, I'm like, I need to get on board because I'm behind. But let me get on this girl named Cassie. And when I heard it on the radio, I was like, oh yeah, this is catching fire. Like, she did her thing. So when I got out of school, like literally this is the end of my junior in high school, I'm about to get ready to become a senior. She was my summer of 06. And that's all I can say. That's how you know that she really blew up with that one song. And it was amazing.
I love that. I think that for me, it definitely was high school, is my senior year. So I remember thinking like, you know, there are so many iterations. So like before, like it even got to the radio and there was a video and all that. So like before that, there was a remix with like Ray J, I believe, was like the one that was making its way online. So random, I know. And then the MySpace, it was on everyone's MySpace. And I remember thinking the same thing. I'm like, who is this girl? This is like so fire. Like it just did something to me. And I think, like you said, the beat is really like hypnotic. It's just it's dark, it's weird, it's really kind of avant-garde, kind of like you said, Aaliyah, and it's very like experimental. Which I hate to say because I feel like experimental means that like it's like, I don't know, like I feel like it kind of discredits, but I can't think of another word to kind of like say that R&B has always been kind of like doing some really cool things, like, you know, and again, Aaliyah and Timbaland and Missy Elliott, that's also a really great example of like a pivotal moment where like the genre is like, what is this? This is like, because I mean, speaking for myself, I know exactly when I heard like 1 in a Million and like If Your Girl Only Knew, like I know exactly where I was. I know exactly what was happening because it was such a moment. Like it was like such an impact. And I feel like exactly like me and you was just like, whoa, like what is this? It's so, and what's crazy is like, and we'll talk a little bit about further down in the interview, like the question, you know, about how she compared to other R&B artists at the time. It's like, you know, Cassie didn't come in with like crazy ad libs or vocal runs or a strong, big, soulful voice. She came in like the complete opposite, like whispery, sultry, just kind of like, you know, almost like talk singing kind of, especially on the second single, Long Way to Go. So it's like for her to just kind of like shift things and really rock everybody was like, okay, girl, like do the damn thing. So I would agree that there was definitely a change there. And then even all the like, other Timbaland, Nelly Furtado, and all that other Danger Hands, that all just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So you mentioned when we were chatting about how we can collab, and we talked about Cassie. You had said that you loved her, and that you had also expressed that you had all felt that she needed to get the flowers for her debut era. So I'm curious. What do you think? And East Coast, I guess it could really apply to anybody. It's like, what do you feel like giving someone their flowers would look like? And maybe more specifically to Cassie.
Well, I feel like giving flowers to people, I think in general, is a person that's really made an impact, no matter what you've done, as in like it could be for one person or millions of people. And I think people get so convoluted when they say giving people flowers. No, it's about giving respect to the people that paved the way in music, period. And what I've learned from Cassie, and I had to sit back and think too, because I was so intrigued at the time. You know, Sierra was big. You know, this is the crunk and beat era. We're talking about literally confessions, goodies, and it's like we're going into like in the mid 2000s, and you know that sound was, you know, truly changing. So for Cassie to come in at a time where she's being controlled by the Little John era, let's be real. Little John was running everything.
He was,
and then for her and Ryan to come with this beat, that really spoke volumes. And then, you know, too, Sierra was kind of dying down a little bit. She didn't come back until like literally the end of 06. So Cassie just came in at a perfect time, you know, to come in with a sound that was like, wait a minute. She has a light voice, very whispery, sultry. But then again, kind of remind me of little Janet. She's a little baby Janet coming in your way. But it's like, where she come from? And then she's a, you know, beautiful, attractive girl. She's giving you dance moves. She's giving you the things that Aaliyah gave us back in, you know, the early 2000s, you know, late 90s. And then you get in Janet Jackson, Pleasure Principles, this influence in this, you know, video. So it's like, you got Cassie paying homage to the ones that came before, but she was like, look, I'm in 06, but I'm gonna make a name for myself. And she was like, you know, I was looking at interviews this today, and she was kind of like, you know, well, I wasn't sure how I fit in. Girl, you fit in at the right time, because Ryan wanted a sound from her to be different. And that's what I love about it, because we get in this time where people just think that, you know, when you respect something that comes from the heart and the art, it has to be just, oh, well, this is it and this is it. But that's not the case. I feel that what Ryan took the blueprint of what Timbaland did back in, you know, with Ali and what she did, and I can even say this about Brandy and Rodney, what they did back in, you know, would never say never. And then A. Marie, and then we want to get real, A. Marie and Rich Harrison. That sound. You know what I'm saying? So what Ryan did, and he heard it, and that, obviously he's influenced because he's rapping on the songs like Timbaland. But I feel what Ryan and Cassie did was very amazing. And if I think about it, I'm listening to it, it kind of influenced Get It Started by Lloyd. Let's be real. You can hear the sound. You can hear the beat.
I can hear it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like people just, you know, kind of give Cassie a bad flag because of her vocals not being you know, on high like a Beyonce, but everybody don't want to be like Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? So for Cassie to do what she did, that was amazing. And for her to run 06, you that girl. She was number 3 on the charts. Come on now, every girl had it on their MySpace page.
And guys,
sorry, but Beyonce came with Deja Vu, but Cassie was running 06.
I like that you point out that her and Ryan have, and again, they're all good examples. The Rich Harrison, A. Marie, like all of them. It's like they almost kind of said, like, instead of asking the question of like, what can I do to fit in with like the soundscape? It's like, well, all that I'm gonna bring what I'm doing, and like and it's like, you know, like that's the message. And I think that for me is like, to answer my own question, it's like the flowers for Cassie is because of that. It's like, and like, I don't know, the way that and I'll mention this in my review that I'll share later on this week on my blog, is like Cassie was like this the ultimate best vessel to like carry Ryan's like creative genius. Like those songs like all written by him, produced all by him, and like watching, like you said too, watching interviews and seeing how like they would just sit in the studio and like write about her experiences and create music around it, and they would do it from scratch, like from the very beginning, and work all night. And it's like to see like such a labor of love, and for people that really have an ear for R&B to be like, oh, this is a crazy project. And I even think in more recent times when they've reissued it on vinyl, there was like this big re-celebration of like, wow, how forward thinking this was, how ahead of its time they like to say it was. And it's like, I don't know, like I totally agree with that, because as simple as some of the production might seem, it's like for that time, it was so just next level. It was something, you know, that you just make and you're just like, boom, like, you know, not listening to trends, you just kind of like build your own thing. So I love that. Cool. So thank you for answering that. I'm so glad that we kind of see the same thing. So kind of continuing on the cultural aspect of that last question, you had also mentioned in our DMs that Cassie was like the queen of MySpace and helped create even kind of this TikTok sort of craze that we're seeing when it comes to a song catching fire on the internet. And I wanted to ask if you could kind of elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Like I told you, like literally, I didn't know what a MySpace was. And literally, I get on MySpace, she's the #1 song that's playing on my high school classmate song. I'm like, what? Like, you would think that, you know, already established artists would have a notoriety for their songs, but for her to come in just at a time, and like I think if I'm correct, MySpace was like '05. I didn't know about till '06.
Yeah,
So
it was '05.
obviously because of the storm and stuff like that, it kind of set me back some months. So by me being set back for months, it was very interesting. But I was happy I had a fresh start, and she was that fresh start for me, and I was really amazed by that because we're coming into '06. Neo's coming with his debut. LaToya Luckett's coming with her debut. Like, she's coming out the gate. So, a lot of new R&B fresh blood was coming in.
Yes.
Not saying going against the establishment, but they were going to come and make a way for themselves. And Cassie came in at a time, and like I said, if we want to be real, she really marketed her music through MySpace, and everybody was going through her page, was getting her music, and her whole album was on there, and everybody was playing it. So, like, this narrative that, Instagram, no. Cassie ran that MySpace era, and everybody had her song. And it just, for me, I think that was the understanding of marketing as in social media at that time. The power, the tool of power, and people were using TRL and BET was using that to say, "Oh, she's catching the fire. Let's put her on TRL. Let's put her on BET to give us a notoriety because this song was really taking off." And then too, you got people on the radio saying, "Oh, we got the hottest song off MySpace." Oh, y'all hear like that?
It gets their attention.
Yes, it's giving her attention. And I think for her, she needs to give a lot of credit for that respect because, like I said, once she did that, who comes next? Soulja Boy 1 year later. The clink, clink.
And I mean, even now too, it's like, like I immediately think of like Justine Skye. She really re-released the whole project just because of her song, like going in the slow reverb of it going crazy on TikTok has like rejuvenated her career, like given her a new outlet, a new start. And it's like, and I'm sure it's happened for many other artists too that are like their big songs are picking back up, and it's like it just brings new life and it just gives it another avenue for it to like reach more people and do more things. And so I think that's a great comparison. I was so when you said that in the DM, I was like, wow, I didn't think that far. I didn't think to connect the two, that like that social media aspect of it is like it really is such a force, and it's more so than we even could probably say right now in this interview or. And in general, it's like it means more than we probably know.
Yeah, it does.
So after hearing the project, like back in '06, let's say you've discovered Cassie, you've heard Me and You, you've maybe played the entire album. After kind of having that sort of like, who is this person, this mystery, once you've solved it by now listening to her project, watching her videos, what would you say, like, did it change your perception of her? Did it make you think of her a different way? Like, how did you see her and how did you register, I guess, her in your mind after hearing the music?
Well, I will be honest. Like I said, I didn't really get a chance to listen. Like I said, I seen her full album on MySpace. That's true. Okay. But I think as I've gotten older as an adult, I really, really got to respect her more. But I will say this. When she came out with Me and You, I wanted some more music. So when we got A Long Way to Go, I said, oh, this is my jam. And I hate to say it, but I do like A Long Way to Go a little bit better than Me and You. I'm not being shady. But I will say this too. I felt like she was trying to keep going with that sound that her and Ryan was doing. And I thought it was dope. And people didn't get it. I was like, she is coming. I love it. Like, she's giving her mind, the sound. She's dancing. Her and Ryan has this chemistry that is undeniable.
Yeah.
But I feel listening now today. But I will say this: the one song I did listen to, I will say, to be honest, the one song I listen to that I really, really love, and it's my number one song, is "Kiss Me."
Oh, of course.
Kiss Me. Yeah. That's my Destiny. It's obviously my Destiny Child T-shirt, but that was the one I think I listened to maybe years later. But that one right there, if I remember anything off that album, Kiss Me is the one that gets played. But listening to it was very R&B, pop, hip hop, and just a sound that was very interesting. You can tell, oh, that's Ryan Leslie.
And even like later on down the road, like other artists who produce for it's like it's such a specific sound, which is really cool. That's like our less. See, I remember hearing that all the time, like his little tag and stuff. And I think I agree. Kiss Me is definitely, there's no story behind that. Her mom had her write it with Ryan, and it was like a birthday gift or something like that. So I think that's a really sweet story to have tied to that song, because it's a good one.
It was the first song she did. I did not know that.
Yeah, before Me and You. Yeah, and
it don't make no sense.
Yeah. The album should have got definitely a lot more promo, but I remember in that, I think it may have come, if it could have been like the foreseeing of Bad Boy or whatever, to see like how underperforming that Long Way to Go did commercially. It's like I could see maybe why that they could have, but I feel like I don't know. I remember driving in the car one time, and it was like New at 2 or whatever, and it was like Long Way to Go by Cassie, or like Bumper Dump or something it was called. And I remember I was in traffic and people calling like dumped ass songs awful, and I was like, no, like no. Yeah, I'm like, get my phone, I'm gonna call right now, like bump this, like no way, like, but yeah, people were just not feeling it. I don't know. I think it was maybe because it was more of like a rap talking. It wasn't so much of her like singing. I don't know. Like I can get it, and I can see too how like the production may have been just a little bit too much for people, too progressive, too experimental. And so I can see that, but yeah, it's unfortunate. I think probably my favorite song on that album is man, let's see, probably gonna be like Miss Your Touch.
That's a good one too. I put that, I think, as my top 5. Woo!
Yeah. I just feel like that song, she sings really well on it. Her tone's really good, which is what I felt like I've always appreciated her tone and just the way that she's able to sing the songs. You know, again, not strongest vocalist, but I pick up what she's putting down. And yeah, I just feel like that. And it's also a very Ryan Leslie production, like straight up, like pure. Like, you know, later on in life, she would try to, you know, there's an iteration of her second album called Electro Love that would have been on Electro Love for sure. Like that just sums up that song. So very cool.
That one right there.
Oh yeah.
She knows Cassie and Ron was wrong for that.
They were, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go on.
All right, so I mentioned earlier, I do want to talk about the time frame because there were so many great R&B artists coming out at the time and just really like coming hard with like really good R&B, again, vocals and all that. So to name a few, we have Sierra, like we mentioned, Mary J. Blige, Mariah Carey, Amerie, Beyonce, Rihanna, Destiny's Child was doing their final thing, J-Lo, Khalees, Faith Evans, JoJo, Tweet, Ashanti, to name, and that's just the female side of it, you know? And so I just wanted, you know, to see like when you compare her to like the musical landscape of the time, like I don't know, what do you think? Like, do you feel like there was a comparison? Do you feel like there was any sort of like need to have I don't know, her music kind of stacked against the others?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, I'm wearing on my shirt Aaliyah. They were definitely comparing to Aaliyah because, you know, pretty light skinned girl, you know, had the whole kind of tomboys look in the Me and You video with the, you know, the pants and the shoes.
Right.
But for me, and I didn't know this either, did you know that Janet shouted her out back in the day?
I want to say Beyonce did, but later on, I don't remember the Janet, but I can totally see it.
I don't know about Beyonce, but Janet, they got a whole clip of her on Power 106. They asked her what songs was she listening to, and she said, Cassie, Me and You. Cassie. I said, what?
Wow.
You got Janet V. Jackson, the Blueprint. And that right there, Cassie, I don't even know if Cassie knows this, but Janet shouted her out. And when I think about Me and You, you think about the Pleasant Principles from Janet. Yeah, Aaliyah, like she was coming in at the time, and you know, honestly, sadly, Aaliyah's passed. Sierra was that girl. Yeah. And then you got Cassie come in. It's like, wait a minute, Sierra, you got some competition, honey. Like she's coming for your spot. Like not being shady, but it's just like you have girls that have this tomboyish girl next door type of look, like, you know, trying to bring the Aaliyah effect. And now I don't want to say to be, you know, mean or facetious because Cassie has her own way. Yeah. But I think when they were trying to bring that back into the mid 2000s, like the look. Not saying that people are thinking about Aaliyah in the retrospect, but when you look at the way that she was dressed, the hair and all that stuff like that, they were going to make that comparison. Like I think she was like the number one comparison when Cassie was doing that. But at the time, I think Cassie came in at a perfect time that even though she is maybe Aaliyah to y'all, her sound is not Aaliyah at all. Mm-hmm. So we have to look at her as a girl that has a light voice, that has, you know, the extent, like the arterial, like the aesthetics that make her who she is. Right. But at the same time, is when I'm thinking of Cassie, I'm thinking of Me and You. I'm not thinking about Aaliyah. I'm not thinking about Sierra. And to be honest with you, let's be real about it. Like when Sierra was coming back, she had to step a game up because Cassie ran the whole summer. So even at the time, and it's good that Cassie didn't come out on fire because Mariah would have just beat him. Like no, Mariah,
she was eating everybody alive.
And I feel like too, in all honesty, she came in at a perfect time because the snap era was getting ready to die down. Mm-hmm. So why not come in 2006 and come with a sound that we're not used to? But at the end of the day, is make it a way and be marketable and put it on MySpace. Yep. And that was genius. So I think for me, the comparison wise, yes, they were because of Aaliyah and her voice. But I feel to me too that even if the comparison was that, I didn't get that Aaliyah exterior from her to even have a song like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. Same. Totally agree. I feel like they were all, and all the artists I name are amazing and have like albums that have changed my life and have made such an impact on me. So I love all of them. I didn't want to mention Natalie though, because I know Natalie is another very similar. Yeah, I love that first album, and some of the second album, man, it goes so hard. And it's like, again, it's the most simple, like, or at least to me, I'm not a music producer, but it sounds like it's just it's easy to digest. It's nothing crazy, but it's still so good and so like tender, and like there's a lot of meat to it without, it's like it says a lot without saying very much. And I think that in itself is worth celebrating and acknowledging. And so from the artists that I name, I think that, in terms of like, having the image and like, because there were a lot of tomboy, like you were saying, Tyra B stands out to me as well, like as someone who like that aesthetic, right? And so it was definitely something that people were catching on to in terms of aesthetic, but I think sound wise, it's like, she really was in her own lane doing her own thing. So I'm glad you kind of feel the same way. All right. So Long Way to Go was the second single. What do you remember thinking or feeling about the song? And you did kind of talk about it earlier on in our discussion. Like, do you feel like you still love Long Way to Go the same as you did before?
17 years, yes, I do. I don't care what people say. Like, look, I tell people all the time, you was not in 2006 when everything was running. People feel like this trap R&B, and I don't want to get on our trap because we respect our people that does the R&B and trap. Yeah. But at a time when that sound was hitting that snap era, we still had people that was giving you vocals. Let's be real. But at that time, yes, Long Way to Go was still my jam. I was playing it on my MySpace page. I loved it. I loved the video. I loved it. It was bringing in that era too, I feel, when she was on the computer, that social media dynamic. She was kind of marketing like, hey, you found me on social media, now I'm finna hit you back up and we finna have a communication. The DM effect. Let's be real. Like, you get what I'm saying? Cassie made a blueprint for a lot of stuff that I didn't see back then, what I see now. Getting to know somebody, getting introduced to somebody, not even that. I was sitting back thinking today, what did Long Way to Go? It reminded me of what's the song? The song where it talks about somebody, The First Night by Monica. It reminds me of that, like somebody trying to get with you, but she was like, no, I'm not giving you on the first night. Yeah. Like Cassie's giving me that long way to go. Like, baby, no, like I let you, get with you, but you got a long way to go before you can get with me. You know what I'm saying? That aspect, that effect that she was bringing in 2000s. Then I feel like putting that social media marketing strategy was super smart, because when you look back at it now, everybody had a top 8, a top 10, a top whatever. Right. Now with IG, I'm noticing now they're putting music on their little notes. Yeah. They're bringing that impact back to MySpace, to Instagram. So what Cassie did at that time with that song was amazing, and people don't catch it. But when I sit back and look at that video, I love the outfit she had on. I love the dance, and I do my little, what I love. Like, let me look. I want my hat to fall off, but I'm just saying, and honestly, to me, she really, really just did her own thing, and I was proud that she did that, because now I can have my Cassie, I can have my Sierra, I can have my Beyonce be there, I can have my girls and be okay. And Rihanna, we can talk about that, like, you know what I'm saying? And I sit back and look too. I feel like she paved the way for Rihanna in her sound.
For sure. No, I totally agree. I think Long Way to Go too. I love the video. Like, I can never get over watching it. It's just like, I just feel like it really embodies Cassie, who she was as an artist, and like, I don't know, just everything about like her aesthetic. Like, that video is like, that is Cassie in that moment, with the Ryan Leslie and all that. And I love the performance element of it as well. I feel like that was really cool to see, because I think what happened was when she came with Me and You, and then the video was like, okay, like, how is she going to follow this up, because it really did deliver. Oh yeah. And then when the video for Long Way to Go, I just feel like it just like pushed it kind of like up the game a little bit more. And she was just so gorgeous in that video. And then she sounds great. Yeah, I love the editing. That whole thing is great. And I never stopped loving Long Way to Go. I've always felt like it was like the stepchild when you have the 2 singles, and it's like, come on, you all like get with it. Like, but it's like, but now it's like, if you know kind of thing. If you don't, like, that's cool too.
And that Me and You, that Me and You, they was gonna play that before they play Long Way to Go anyway. So
forever.
You can't knock it. I can't get mad. She got a big hit. So
that's true. That's true. All right. So did you think that she would go on with her music career after, like, this, we saw so many like start and go, the stalling of like the second album, and then, all the other singles that kind of came out and never really were attached to a larger project. And if you did see her see her keep going with that? Like, what did you envision her doing? Like, did you envision like a specific sound, any specific collaborations? Like, for example, for myself, like I never saw her doing like the Rockabye Baby mixtape and like just going like full on like hip hop and like, you know, having a whole project based around a character from like a gangster movie or something, that would have never pictured that.
Yeah. Honestly, you know what's so crazy at the time when when that era did die down, because it did die down, she went in movies. So that was really shocking that she went into Step Up 2 and stuff like that. But I really love Must Be Love. That was my song. Like, that's my jam. Like, I felt like, to me, that ballad for her, I gave her a good groove. And I was like, ooh, okay. So when she got this, I'm like, bet Cassie's gonna come out with an album. Like you said, she cut her hair off. She still look beautiful. Like, she really was giving me that model ass, Official Girl before that. Like, I thought when those singles were coming, I'm like, okay, Cassie is really giving you dancing, vocals, like she's giving you something that quote unquote people felt like, she didn't give in '06. But now she's trying to reinvent and recreate her stuff because we're in the, like 2008, 2009. And for me, okay, I think these singles are dope. I like them. I had them on my MP3 player. I thought she was coming in. It just stopped. So I'm like, okay, like what happened? What's going on? Now I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know about her mixtape until you sent it to me today, and I was like, but the crazy part about it was I remember on BET Soul or VH1 and whatever they call it now, they will play those songs off that mixtape, and I didn't know because every year for her birthday they'll play it. She has the same birthday as my sister, so August 26th. Very nice. And right. And the crazy part about it was they will play those songs. So like her and her, like, respect her birthday, celebrate it. They'll play those songs from that mixtape. So I didn't know they were from that mixtape. So I was like, oh, this is Cassie at the time. So I didn't really know that she was doing all that mixtape stuff. I know King of Hearts. Now, King of Hearts, they did. I remember that, my college years. This is my college years.
Yeah. They promoted that a little bit.
Sadly, I honestly didn't see it. I thought we really, after Must Be Love, we were going to come out with something. But when she didn't do it and she got with Diddy, I was like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it was Must Be Love. It was Make You a Believer, I think, with Jadakiss. There was one Balcony with Fabulous, like all these other songs. Let's Get Crazy with Akon, like that was supposed to like be something. And then obviously Official Girl. I love Official Girl. That video is like, man, I could watch it every day, all day. She just looks so bomb.
Cassie is walking like a model, Naomi Campbell style.
She looks so fly. Like damn, like these other girls could never, man. Like Cassie
never.
Cassie was on one on that video. And I even like, and I'm such a fan of Danger Hills, Danger Hands, wherever you want, Nathaniel Hills, whatever you want to call him. I'm such a fan of all his production because it's so unconventional. And I was like, cool to see like Cassie like kind of own that and really just, because I believe for Official Girl, like they had leaked the version or the demo with, is it Karina Parisian? Someone else. And so I remember the internet like roasted Cassie's version because Karina's she has more of a vocalist. Cassie's not. And I remember being like, I don't know, thinking like, damn, people just like, it's not always just about like, if someone can like, if it's like Cassie versus Jennifer Hudson, like in the vocal battle, like Jennifer Hudson is going to sing circles around Cassie, but it's about tone and like texture and those sort of things to someone's voice and who they are as an artist. And I remember thinking like, Karina's version was good, but I still really liked Cassie because I appreciate Cassie's texture and her tone in her singing. So I was really happy for that. And I remember they pushed that one pretty hard too. I remember her having like a whole little interview on stage at like the MTV Awards. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be the takeoff. It's going to happen and it's going to be a great album, and just nothing ever materialized from all that. So and film too. I saw The Perfect Match and all that stuff in theaters, trying to support her. So I see her now like be a mom and like, be in the Chris Brown video and stuff. It's like, she can really do anything.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to iterate, and I love that you said about like, people just think it's about singing. It's about emotion. I have to feel you on a record, and and I don't want to look, y'all know I'm a Brandy stan. Everybody knows that I am a Brandy head. But people feel, and I get this about the Never Say Never versus the Full Moon aspect. People feel that just because Brandy was vocally strong on Full Moon, that supersedes everything. But you can be emotionally attached to Never Say Never, get an understanding because she's vocally producing everything on Never Say Never. But like you said, it's all about emotion with me. And if I can feel the record and it connects to me, that's what makes sense. And that's why I love that you said that, because I said for me, for Cassie, Kiss Me, I love Me and You, but Kiss Me is the one. Sorry, it's just the truth. It's like emotions. I think for me, I'm just gonna be, my opinion. Emotions for me supersede what a dance song can do for me.
Like technical ability, like it's about the connection.
I'm saying, like, it's emotion. I'm sorry, but like I'm an emotional person, so I'm gonna connect to something that emotion. If Kiss Me connects me more than Me and You, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And I love Kiss Me Too, because she does her little soulful runs, her little ad libs, and I was like, okay, Cassie, like you could tell that her influence, she grew up, I think she has said multiple times, like going to listening to Prince and like Apollonia 6 and like all the other, like just having a great kind of like the roots of where you got your influence from. It's like, she can, you can kind of hear it. So I just kind of I'm going to go ahead and we talked about Aaliyah already. So I want to just ask you, like, what words would you use to describe Cassie's sound? If you had to just like describe it to me in like 5 words, 3 words.
Oh, Lord, that's I'm going for a light round. Okay. Well, Cassie's voice for me is very light, very light voice. I hear from her. It's very seductive. I would say that it's very seductive, because when certain songs you hear from now, I'm like, wait a minute, like you giving me Janet Jackson, and you're giving me Janet Jackson anytime, any place type of vibe with her voice. Light, seductive. I would say for me, a groove. She's very groovy. 2 more words: light, seductive, groovy. Experiment. I wouldn't even say experimental, but very transcending, because she can get with any sound.
Yeah,
and that's why she can get with certain people. And I would say a trendsetter.
Trendsetter. I like that. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, trendsetter, 100%. I think. Well, when I think of how to describe, I would say like just pushing boundaries, just really, and it's like without even trying. Like I just don't believe, or I would have a hard time believing that they were like, okay, Ryan, like let's push the boundaries and let's like this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna change the game. Like it was like, no, let's just go in and like make some fire ass music, and then here it is, people, and like that's it. So I don't know. So yeah, just like not just going against the grain, kind of rebellious in that way, just doing her own thing. And all the words you said: seductive, sultry, very ethereal, just sounding like just so easy, but yet so very strong though too.
Yeah.
So you've also mentioned your favorite song from the project is Kiss Me. So that was one of the questions that I had. And I was curious to know, did you ever watch the infamous 106 & Park performance of Me and You?
To be honest with you, no. I caught it on YouTube. I would say like a week or 2 later, because MySpace at the time, that was like our Twitter. So people were talking about it on MySpace, and I'm like, what are they talking about? The performance and stuff. And honestly, when I seen it, it caught me off guard, because it did seem like she was lip syncing. But I think too, and I'm going to be honest, I just feel like it may have hurt herself a little bit, because when people want to see a performance, they want to see a full all out. Because like we said, this is the summer of 06 anthem. I'm sorry, love you, B, but baby, no ma'am. Like this is Cassie's era, period.
Very true.
And I felt to me, everybody was expecting so much, because the beat was so infectious. And because I gave me that light Janet Jackson-esque type of thing, people wanted to see her just, be herself. Yeah. And I think too, this is the era of social media. People are just seeing this for the first time. We're not used to people like watching stuff on YouTube to get a replay and back and all that stuff. So for me, it was very shocking. But for me, I was like, I don't care. I'm 17. Let's go, girl. Let's come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has a chance to redeem themselves. And at the end, because she was a person that just came on the scene, because that is, like I always said this too, when you're in the music industry, and we're going to be honest about the music industry yourself, you're young, you don't know how to navigate that success. And that was overnight for her. And I want to be real, technically, overseas, she was successful before she became in the States. Right. So she has a lot of respect over there. And it's sad, because overseas, they love R&B more than we do. And I'm not saying that not us. Right, but with overseas, they give people a chance to redeem themselves. We don't. We just like to throw them to the wolves. No, I'm not like that. I want a person to redeem themselves. Show me what you got. You made a song that really captivated my childhood. Why not give her a chance? So that's just general, like, yeah, I saw it, but for me, I still was playing, and me and my little 3-year-old cousin was dancing to it, so oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember, and obviously I'm a, are you a Cassie stan? Like, yes, I am. So it's like, for me, it's like she really can do no wrong. So like I'm maybe a little biased in that way, but I also feel like, yeah, you're right. Like to the culture of like really criticizing and like rewatching things and like having access to like send her a message on MySpace and be like, oh, like you can't sing or all these sorts of things. Like I feel like even like paparazzi and all those things like Britney Spears like going crazy, all of that was like at the time like there was so much like a magnifying glass was on every celebrity and like that was such a big thing. And yeah, I think looking at her performances like in Europe, like those earlier ones, like she was probably probably was performing to like a track and wasn't singing live, or it was like a mixture of both. So like when we come here, we're like really really big on vocals and like we want Mariah Carey or Whitney, and if you're not, then you're like you're going in the trash. And so I feel like at the time that was what they were expecting from her. And I agree. I think it was such fever pitch around me and you and like wanting like, who is this girl? I want to see her like in real life, like a zoo or something. And so when she came with something that maybe wasn't the expectation that everyone had, it was like, people quickly wrote her off, which sucked because I honestly feel like all of her performances and stuff and like her energy prior to that, I felt like there was a confidence that she had that was kind of broken. I feel like after that incident, and it's like she almost had to like it was like her walking on eggshells after that. And I don't know, I feel like that's a little unfortunate because I feel like, and I'll post it on my page too in the coming days, is like some of like some of the stuff you just see like such a light and like an energy and just a confidence in what she was doing. And I feel like after that fiasco with the BET performance, it was like, man, like that sucks. Like it just felt like it kind of stalled that. And so, yeah, so I'm glad that you did eventually get to watch that because I feel like that was such a big part of her journey,
Yeah, but I didn't care because I was like, girl,
yeah.
She's the queen of 06. I don't care.
Yeah, like bring whatever you got, like skipping around, I'll watch it. Like I don't care. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you didn't know about the mixtape, so Rockaway, hopefully you'll tap into that because while it wasn't like my favorite project, there are still so many like dope songs on there that I love, especially the one with written by Jeremiah. If you check it out, you're gonna know it and you're gonna love it. I know for sure.
Okay. I trust you.
Yeah. So thank you. Would you say so then you don't know about the more recent songs that she's done with like Tiffany Red and she's done with like not Rob Knox, with oh my gosh, what is his name? Rob Holiday. She did songs with Tiffany. Okay, so that's how I discovered Tiffany and the 100%ers and all that, was because following Cassie and her being on her like posting who she's in the studio with and all this like Sick Pen is another songwriter who's amazing and written for her. She kind of like used a music Teach Me I think it's called by Music Soul Child. She like interpolated that into one of her songs. She sounds so good. Like my friend was like, did you know Cassie put this out? I'm like, hello, I'm like the Cassie king. I know everything about what's going on with her. He was like, it doesn't even sound like her. I'm like, yeah, because she's just such a different artist now, like vocally and all that stuff. So I would really encourage you to check it out. There's all her new stuff is like so bomb. I know you're gonna love it. It's so good. So did want to put that out there, just kind of encourage, and people who are watching also check it out. So Cassie's one of my favorite artists, along with like Brandy, Chris Brown. Those are like when people say like, it's like if someone was to like hug me, like, what would they smell in terms of like fragrance? What they're gonna hear is like Cassie, Chris Brown, Tinashe. Those are like my boos. Like I love them. And I remember funny quick little side note. I was driving to Vegas with some friends, and they were like, some of my friends turned, he's like, Tinashe really is life for you, huh? And I was like, yeah, man, like I love her. And that's how I feel about Cassie though too. And so I'm curious to know, what do you feel like someone's favorite artist says about them as a person or their character?
Well, I would say this. I think a lot is because of impact. That means a lot. And I just found out today, Cassie did influence people. I didn't know this. I was like, wait a minute. Cassie, like, even though obviously we know, because at the end of the day, it's her sound did that. But it was a lady named Jessie. Let me see on my notes because I'm looking. Oh, Jessie Bonza. She did, they did a piece on The Guardian called the Timbaland Era, the Experimental of R&B. And she really gave Cassie her love and her props. She was like, look, they were talking about R&B in the experimental time. She said, look, we are in the post-Cassie era. And I said, wait a minute. She said post-Cassie era. That speaks volumes. When you got at least one person that's in the industry that's giving you props because of your sound doing that, I think that's me because no matter what has happened, people say she quote unquote can sing, but I'm surprised that everybody getting her sound.
Yep.
Let's be real.
Yep.
So yeah, I think for me, when it comes down to people and impact, it's just a legacy for the next generation. The artistry that impacts people, the voice, the sound, the all I would say is the total package to make an artist. And I think Cassie does that because even for everybody, Cassie may not be everybody's tea, but I'm gonna still listen to her because at the end of the day, she brings in a Janet Jackson effect to me.
Yeah.
And for Janet to give her props about her song in 2006, yeah, I'm gonna listen to her because Janet D. Jackson said, listen to Cassie. So I'm like, if you got somebody like a Janet that's showing love to the newcomers coming in, that goes to show she's helping paving the way. And Cassie did that for Jesse to even give her and said that post Cassie era. I think that for me is everything. It's just for me to sum all this up. It's the legacy that keeps going, but for the next generation to acknowledge and accept and respect.
I love that. I love that. I think that's well said. And Janet's one of my that was like my childhood. All those Janet albums, like Janet is everything to me. And so yeah, I'd love to again to hear new tidbits about Cassie and then to tie it in with Janet. Love to hear that. I don't know. I think for me, like if Cassie being my favorite artist, I think what it says about me is that it says that like I'm someone that like doesn't always need to have a strong vocalist. I don't think that talent equals vocals all the time. I do think it does, but it's not everything. I think that it also says about me that, you know, I love like progressive elements. I love to hear like some probably more up tempos. And I just like things to be like R&B is the root of everything. And that's because I love it so much. It's like, you know, my soul, it's like something to do with my soul. It sounds crazy, but I just feel like it's like something to do with my purpose. So I'm so attached to like anything R&B. It's like, I would joke with my friends, like, if you want to kidnap me, like put like R&B this way and like in a van, like, yo, I'm in, like, I'm sorry, but that's how you're going to get my attention. You know, we love R&B. Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that. And so the last question I have for you is just unrelated to Cassie, really. If there's any advice or you want to give to like creatives like ourselves, digital content creators, bloggers, whoever's watching this, or any life advice that you feel has helped you on your journey and it's on your heart to kind of share with us.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And for me, I know this is getting ready to come out soon, but this is a very emotional moment for me because this is the day I lost my mother. And I felt for me, my mother would always want me to be happy. And I feel like like you said, when music, it touches the soul. And for all my creators out here that are trying to do anything, it doesn't even have to be music, but just going for a passion, go for your purpose. And I want to understand if you love what this music or anything dealing with R&B or just any genre in general, just do it for the purpose of your heart and do it because you're making a legacy for yourself. And that's for me, and I've always said this, music has to touch the soul, but not even that, the legacy is going to always be here forever. And for all my R&B heads, my creators, my loves, do it because you love it, be yourself, but be damn happy when you're doing it. And that's all I gotta say about that.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's great. I mean, I feel like you've definitely encouraged me in a lot of ways, and you know, always kind of like, you know, your messages and your support means so much to me, Chastity, more than you probably know. So I just want to say that real quick. So thank you so much for sharing that message and just coming on and, you know, shooting the shit with me for the last hour, just talking about all things Cassie, because like we said, we love Cassie, and this week on my blog we were talking about the debut album. So if you're cool, we can end it there. And I just want to say thank you so much again for spending some time with me. It was a pleasure talking with you. Always great to connect with you. And thank you.
Oh, anytime. And thank you so much. And I thank you for your platform for doing what you do, because it's people like yourself that really make me love R&B, but proud to see that people our age group that is really keeping the love of R&B going. And I want to give you your flowers and give you your respect and love for what you do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.